Maybe one of the most important, if not the most important element in heavy bass production, like in dubstep, electro house, D&B, and all these bass heavy genres is post-processing. I'm going to show you a really cool chain that you can do in FL Studio and Ableton that really makes your basses sound heavy, loud, and clean. And very important on the clean aspect because I'm going to show you some really cool tricks to really clean up those basses while still keeping them loud, heavy, and sit really nicely in the mix. So without talking much longer, let's go into our DAW. Let's get started with this video. And here we are in our DAW. I have already a few presets I'm gonna show you. And these basses are powered by Black Lotus Audio's BOSSFIGHT, which you can get in the Ultimate Dubstep bundle, which is linked in the description. And if you use coupon code SoundClear20 on checkout, you can get a 20% discount. These basses on their own sound really good, and we're gonna make them even better here. So I'm gonna create this cool little bass bus. And I'm gonna use the one shot as a reference to play when starting to create bass here. I'm gonna start with the classic OTT. And as you can see, this creates a really messy tail because the bass does have reverb. So we can fix this by turning the upward compression all the way down. And instead of doing 100%, we can start using 30% and increasing the time. And it's starting to sound a lot cleaner, a lot heavier just with that. I'm gonna add some EQing just to clean it up a little bit as we go. Now I wanna add some distortion, or more so saturation, and I'm gonna use FabFilter Saturn, or you can use any saturation of your choice. I just prefer to use Saturn as my go-to saturation plugin. I'm gonna set it to warm tube at around 40%. And I really like the dynamics at around 40. I'm gonna set this to -1. I'm gonna set this to 6 dBs. And as you can hear, the reverb tail still sounds really quiet while the actual bass sounds really loud. We can add a second ET just to bring that up a bit more. I'm gonna do sort of the same thing, but maybe with a little more depth this time. And if your bass has a really crazy amount of reverb, you can turn it down. And usually that helps out clean out the bass even more, not having the reverb from the patch go into the processing chain, because a lot of the messy sounds comes from that reverb. And as you can starts to hear, it sounds a little bit muddy in the low end mids. But when I turn it down, it starts to sound thin. So now it's more or less playing around with the EQing, sort of just like find what you want with the bass. And really subtle adjustments goes a long way when creating these types of basses. Now we can add more loudness with the distortion. And I really like to use Kiloheart's distortion plugin because first of all, it's free and it's really easy to use. And now, one final touch that I love to add on my basses as saturation, and this is unique on FL Studio, but you can add a saturator in your other plugins, is having this Maximus, and I'm going to show you this really cool preset that I made. So you start by disabling the multiband and just using the master compressor. I'm going to set it to 6 dB, so it's really loud. And then I'm going to add a 1% threshold on the saturation and a 1 minus 0.1 dB ceiling. And if I want to add a little bit more of the sub, I can go add another EQ, and what I can do is I can sort of raise the volume of the sub like this. And I already have a clean bass that sounds really similar to the original, so if I disable it sounds really loud, it sounds really beefy, and it still sounds clean. It's really easy to mix and add effects to make it unique. And now if I play the other basses, disable the reverb, there's a really subtle amount of reverb that's barely passing to the post-processing, even though we made it so loud, and that sounds really sick. And as you can hear, I still have some reverb from the original patch, and it's barely messing with the actual mix. Yet the bass is so loud and so full, and it sounds so fantastic. So there you have it, guys, a really easy post-processing chain for your basses. And this chain is really cool because it really helps pop those basses out in the mix. It makes them really loud, really crunchy, yet really clean in the mix, which is really awesome because usually you get with really messy sounds and you have to do a lot to clean up. And it's really easy to follow in Ableton, FL Studio, or your DAW of preference. So anyways, thank you Black Lotus Audio for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to check out the ultimate dubstep bundles, the links as always are in the description. And if you use coupon code SOUNDKILLER20, you'll get 20% off in checkout. So don't forget that, SOUNDKILLER20, links in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.